Hey folks, good evening to you all, wherever you're tuning in from. Welcome to a special space with me, Kalu Aja. Usually we're here on a Sunday. We want to come in here on a Saturday. We have a special guest coming on Sunday. So what would have been a good idea to talk about the economy, like we always do, the economy, personal finance, and of course, investing. That's what we're doing today, right? We're going to talk about Nigeria. We have a special topic here. We're talking around the 746 million pound, nearly £1 billion UK investment. That's in air quotes, investment in Nigeria, right? We want to unpack what we think is an unequal deal that has been signed by the Nigerian government. So we're going to just run through that, and then we're just going to allow you guys to air your opinions. Go to a short presentation. We're going to, I don't think about maybe 5 minutes or so to just run through what I think is going on, and then you guys can talk. Right? It's your country, it's your money. You're going to see why we're doing this space where we go ahead now. Again, guys, we're on YouTube, so if you want to go on YouTube, you can also hop in there. We're going to share the slides as well, so you guys can also follow. Like I like to do those visual things on Twitter as well, because it just gives us it's good when we follow visually as well. We're able to to flow. So the topic today is very, very simple. Nigeria has gone. If you guys have been following the news, our president went to the UK, not just to the UK, not just to see the prime minister. We went on what we call a state visit, high end, no holds barred state visit to the United Kingdom. Right, that's what our president did this week, and literally it was off the charts. If you were able to watch when Donald Trump came to visit the king and the queen, the same treatment, the carriage, the horses, the flags, the gun salutes, the march past, everything. We even had the state dinner. We also had the king of Great Britain, our guy, caught drop quotes on jollof rice. So we've won that battle with Ghana. Nigeria is now the official ruler of jollof rice because the king of England has said our jollof rice is better. So we're good. We've won that fight. So you want to look, when I first heard the news that the president was going to the UK, I was like, okay, we're going to the UK, that's fine. All Nigerian presidents go to the UK. But when I started to see the trappings, when they started to announce it that he was going to visit the king in Windsor, he was going to get this, get that, I began to come. Not just to come, they really want Nigeria to come and do something. So what is it? I even tweeted that out, that the UK wants something from Nigeria. And what is it, right? And of course, I'll start to peel back that onion. I was trying to see what the UK wanted from Nigeria, right? So what the UK wanted really was this port deal, or let's just call it what it is. It's a British steel deal. That's exactly what the UK wanted from Nigeria. The other things are nice, but they are add-ons. But the main thing the UK wanted was for Nigeria to sign off on this 746 billion port deal. They call it a port deal, but it's actually a British steel deal. Essentially, what's happening is that the UK government, basically, there are steel companies. I think the UK government taking this over, and the sales are falling. The sales are falling. You can't compete with Chinese steel. So Nigeria has concessioned, which means we've given away our ports to private operators to run. We've given our ports away to private operators to run. These guys want to modernize the ports. To modernize those ports, they need a lot of money, but also a lot of steel. Where do you get steel from in the world? You get steel from Korea, from China, and all that. Now, UK has a steel plant. Have you ever heard of, let's leave that alone. So UK has a steel plant, right? So the UK guys, let's go with the Nigerian guy, because a Nigerian guy that owns this ports in Lagos, right? Nigerian guy then goes to the UK guy and says, I want to buy steel from the UK. And of course, he can't afford it. Why he can't afford it is a different matter entirely. But he says he can't afford it. So the UK government, seeing the opportunity, says, listen, we will finance you to buy this steel from us. No, we can't give it to you on credit. We don't really trust you guys to pay us back. Your budget is over leveraged. The Nigerian budget today is over leveraged. Last time I looked at half year 2025 half year, we were doing about 72% of the budget going to debt service alone. That figure has fallen, but debt service today is doing about 40% of your revenues. 40% alone goes to debt service. So where are you going to get the money to pay for steel? You've done your tax reform. Yes, it's going to bring in new revenues, but you're spending too much. You are borrowing too much. You are borrowing from China. You are borrowing from the Euro bonds. So where are you going to get the money to pay for our steel? So we're not going to give you steel on credit. We want you guys to pay for it. So what does this guy do? This guy then gets the Nigerian government involved, right? So now Nigeria, that's why you see the president going to UK to sign, is now guaranteeing this deal. And what's this deal? Essentially, we're going to buy steel from the UK through export finance and supply to Nigeria. So who gets the money? The UK guys. First of all, their factories manufacture the steel. Secondly, their suppliers supply the steel to Nigeria. Who pays? Nigeria is guaranteeing that they will pay for this. So in essence, we've taken debt to finance a port reform. Hold on. I hear you guys saying, there's nothing wrong with that now. Hold on. We're coming, right? So let's now say this is the main deal. This deal is the main deal. But somebody is saying already on Twitter, Kalu, there were other deals signed. There were other deals signed. It was not just a port deal. There were other things signed. I hear you. So let's look at the other deals that were signed. And you guys tell me if this warrants a president going to visit UK and get a state dinner from the king of Great Britain, right? This is, remember, state dinner, carriage. They went over the top. Over the top. What other things did we sign? Nigeria signed what we call a migration and returns agreement. That's big English for when you go to the UK, anywhere in the West, as a matter of fact, they cannot deport you if you don't have a passport and if the country that deporting you to does not accept you back. So you see the issues that I have in America, where Trump is passing EOs to say he can deport you to any country. If you say, so if you're a Nigerian and they grab you in the US, they can deport you to Colombia, they can deport you to any country in El Salvador that has agreed with the US. They have to take you back to Nigeria. UK has that same problem. They can't deport you in the UK if you have no papers, number one. And number two, if Nigeria is not going to take you back. Now Nigeria has signed that if the UK just issues a letter, what we call a UK issued letter, that's your document, that's your passport. So if they catch you in the UK, you say you don't have passport, you say you're not from Nigeria, you are from South Africa, they will deport you with a letter back to Lagos. Nigeria has signed off on that. Yes, they will accept failed asylum seekers, visa overstays, and foreign criminals. Nigeria will accept that from the UK. That's what we also signed off. Yeah. We also signed a statement on the expansion of business visas. Note, business visas. They don't want you guys. They want the business people to come. Nigeria to expand business visa opportunities for UK companies operating in and with Nigeria. So Nigerian visa is one of the hardest visas to get. It's easier to get a US visa than Nigerian visa. Most of you listening to this will be like shocked. Nigeria visa is harder than US visa. So now they are now saying that they're going to expand the visa opportunities for UK companies to get a visa to come to Nigeria. Is UK going to give you a visa? Is there a trade deal here? Nothing yet, but just that they will get business visa to come to Nigeria. So they've also gotten that one, right? And then of course there's an MOU. So remember, we signed an agreement to deport Nigerians. We signed an agreement to give them business visa. But when it comes to migration partnerships to broaden the safe, regulated, and orderly migration flows between UK and Nigeria, they signed MOU. They didn't sign an agreement, they signed MOU. So if you want to go to the UK, it's an MOU. If you want to come here, it's an agreement. If you want to deport you, it's an agreement. But we did this under a state visit. So you see why they took us to Windsor Palace and gave us jollof rice? Because when they came to Africa a long time ago, they gave us beads and mirrors and we signed stuff away. It's the same thing that's happened here. We're going to come up to this still. I'm just trying to make this point that these other things you are seeing as fantastic you are seeing. Somebody's mentioning that, yes, we signed off Coventry, we signed off Tetley. listen, these are good agreements we signed. The Tetley Overton is going to come to Lagos, right? To set up a company here in Lagos. It's going to create jobs. It's going to create, that's an FDI, foreign direct investment Nigeria has been seeking. That one is very, very good. There's nothing wrong with Tetley come to Nigeria. And I think we should commend them come to Nigeria. That was fine. The Coventry deal, all those things for education, that is fine. But guys, they've been doing this without an agreement. The president does not need to go to the UK to get Tetley Tea or any other company to come and invest $50 billion. More have come without us going there. We don't have to go and see the Queen and the King and eat jollof fries for Overton to come to the largest market in Africa. We don't. So all those are sideshows. There were two things they wanted from Nigeria, and they got it. They wanted the steel deal, and they wanted the immigration. And Nigeria signed it away. Signed it away. So let's go back and talk critically about this steel deal. Guys, I'm almost done. So if you want to speak, just request to speak. Oh, I see Solomon. I'll add you, but don't talk yet. Yeah, just hang on. So let's talk about this steel deal in detail, just so you guys understand what I'm talking about. And again, I'm sharing it on Twitter and on YouTube, so you guys can follow. And it's not my words, so before you can come and arrest me, I'm picking Nigerian newspapers and the UK papers, and I'm posting it. So I'm not alleging. I'm saying what's in the papers from the UK and from the Nigerian government. The steel deal goes as follows. Nigeria has agreed a 746 million export finance deal. It's not FDI. They're not going to invest in a steel plant in Nigeria. They could have, but they are not investing in the steel plant in Nigeria. They don't want to invest in Nigeria. They are going to sell the steel from the UK. Nigeria will import that steel from the UK. The Citibank will fund that export. Nigeria and the users will pay. If the user does not pay, Nigeria will pay. So the deal guaranteed by the UK Export Finance will be coordinated and arranged by Citibank. It will generate £236 million in supplier contracts for British companies. I say it again, this deal will generate 236 million in supplier contracts for the British companies. Amongst the beneficiaries will be British Steel, that has secured $70 million contract. So here we're going to give British Steel some $70 million contract. Then the exporters will also get 236 million. That's where I get all this 7 million something from, right? And that's essentially what the deal is. We're buying steel from the UK. The guy that is buying the steel, a private individual or individuals cannot pay for that steel. So they rope the Nigerian government to come, see the Queen, get wowed, and sign a deal. But it gets even trickier. Who owns the Lagos port? Is the Lagos port owned by the federal government or by the state government or by the federation? No. These ports are now run by private individuals. They've been concessioned to private individuals. They are not federation assets anymore. They gave them to private individuals. As a matter of fact, this federal government approved $1 billion for the modernization of the Lagos ports. So in October, we get 2025, we approved $1 billion for Lagos ports. Then now we're doing another 746 million for this same Lagos port. It's the same way. Coastal Road, we approved Coastal Road. It's supposed to be a PPP or the guy is supposed to fund it. But Nigeria went and took a nearly $700 million deal from Deutsche Bank. We've gotten a new, is it $1 billion deal again from another company for the same coastal road that this guy was supposed to build that road with his own money, then told we're getting loans for the, we're going to say, oh, the loans are for our counterpart funding. But where is the guy's own funding? Where is the guy's own funding? Why is it always this? We give him a contract, then we go and get money for the guy again. So to my questions, I'm done here, guys. I want to speak up in here. I have 4 questions. And so if anyone can answer those, they will be appreciated. Number 1, why a loan? Why a loan? If Nigeria is so important to the British government that we can go for a state dinner. You know what? There's dinner and there's state dinner. Dinner is when you go, you always have dinner with the PM, with the phone. So you always have that. But this was a state dinner with the Queen, the King, the Sovereign of the UK and Nigeria. State. How many African nations from when Britain was founded till today have had a state dinner? How many from when Britain was founded, from the Anglo-Saxon age till today? How many African nations have got a state dinner? That shows how important it is. But we got to stay. So why alone? If we are so important to them, why can't they do foreign direct investment or even have the British company come to Nigeria and then buy those same steel from the UK? Why can't they do that? Why? Why alone? That's number one. Number two, why sovereign guarantee? It's owned by a private sector guy. Did they give Dangote sovereign guarantee to build the refinery? Dangote took a private loan. At a point, I know Dangote had to refinance that loan from Nigerian banks to Standard Chartered, I believe. Was any sovereign guarantee? So why are we giving an individual that owns a port a sovereign guarantee? You say, why hadn't this a sovereign guarantee? The president was there. Why do you think the president was there to eat rice? He was there because he has to be there to sign the contract. Read everything. You see Keir Starmer, you see President Tinubu signing the agreement together because there is a guarantee. If he does not pay, it's debt on Nigeria. Number three, why is this, again, why is it a loan with a private company? Again, there's nothing wrong with a private company getting a loan with sovereign guarantee. There's nothing wrong with that. But why are you not telling us? Is National Assembly aware of this? Because when you take a loan in the name of the Federation, Nigerian Ports Authority is not owned by the federal government or the state government. It's owned by the Federation of Nigeria, which means all the states in Nigeria own that port, not the federal government, the Federation. So if you take a loan and you guarantee, you are saying all 36 states are going to pay back that debt if it fails. Today, the loans in Nigeria are owned about 95% by the federal government. The state didn't agree to this. So why should the state guarantee a loan to a private sector guy? Last one, my last question, and you guys can speak. Why only Lagos ports? Why only Lagos ports? Yes, I see you're already writing to me. Kalu, they are doing on a port 2 billion. But why isn't on having dinner with the king? Why? Why only Lagos port? Every day, I live in Lagos all my life. Lagos really is overcrowded. And the budget of Lagos cannot take care of the extreme overcrowding. It's a mega city. It's a mega city. It's the only mega city without a functional mass transit system. We have BRT here, but it's not integrated. Like how you go to the UK, you can get on a bus, on a train, on a waterways with one. We don't have that. They've tried in Lagos. They've done the roads. They've done third mainland. They've done BRT, but it's not enough. When I live in Lagos, if you are not on third mainland by 6 a.m., I didn't say leave your house by 6 a.m. If you are not on that Oronshoki axis by 6 a.m., you're going to get to work. You're going to get to office like 8:30. If you're there by 6 a.m., you get to office like maybe 7. Just a few minutes ago. And I don't know, I think it's bad now. Lekki, I live in Lekki. It's just one road in and out of Lekki. One road in and out. What the Iran war has taught us is that, listen, we need redundancies. We need to spread things around. That's what the Iran war has taught us. We need to spread things around. Lagos, the ports in Lagos, the railways in Lagos control nearly 90% of imports and exports from Nigeria. 90%. Now, forget anything tribe or whatever. Forget even war. What if there's a natural occurrence that makes those ports inoperable? You will not be able to import or export 90%. Not oil, your bread, your flour, your sugar, all those things cannot come to Nigeria. We've put all our eggs in one pot. So when you complain Lagos is overcrowded, why won't it be overcrowded when everything's in Lagos? You say, oh, there are 8 ports, but only Lagos has a deep sea. Lagos State government, commendable, got a private sector guy, partner with the Singapore guys, and built a deep sea port in Lagos. Akwa Ibom, I'm dragging them on Twitter that are waiting for Lagos. Their governor said waiting for Tinubu to give him a deep sea port. What has he done? Oh, geez. What has he done? So if you don't spread around, if you don't spread the what's it called, the infrastructure in Nigeria, you're going to have a crowded Lagos. Those are my questions, guys. Let me add you guys over to speak. I know most of you want to speak, and I thank you guys for waiting. I've got Omo. Omo is a fantastic guy. I've got Goodwill. Yeah. So Omo, how are you doing? Please go ahead, Omo. I've asked 4 questions. If you can address any of them, I would love it.
Okay, thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. I salute you all. You were talking about what if natural disaster happened, and then I think it's natural, is unnatural disaster that is happening.
Let's just say something happens. Let's just say something happens. What will happen?
Let's just say something happens.
Remember that we import our food. We import food in Nigeria, so we'll starve.
No. What happened is this: the reality of why, because you want to ask that why are investors not also attracted to other parts outside of Lagos, especially ports outside of Lagos? Why are they not readily or willingly interested in putting their funds outside of Lagos? Because that one government cannot control it.
It's a simple answer. It's a simple answer. It's a simple answer. First of all, ports are exclusive, number one. Number two, the ports outside Lagos, there's no deep port outside Lagos. I can share articles with you.
Akwa Ibom is meant to be deep port, actually.
It's meant to be is the correct word. Meant to be, not it is not. Onne is the only, I would say, real port outside of Lagos. Onne, outside of Lagos, I would say it's the only real port outside of Lagos. But again, when you have the rail in Lagos, if I'm going to Onne, I'm moving my goods via road. So you see the other thing there. Lagos is integrated. There's the port, there's the rails, there's the roads, there's the airport. So if I move a container to Lagos, I can put on a train, I can put on a boat, I can stay in the hotel, I can get my visa at the embassy. It's integrated. You have to build Lagos across the coast of Nigeria. Lagos go ahead.
Let me now help you understand this clearly. That's the idea behind the coastal road. The president has a futuristic idea behind it.
I want you to answer my question. I get coastal road. Coastal road is a beautiful project. I support it. That road will double or triple the GDP of Nigeria. It's a fantastic question. But we are talking about this deal. Unless, go ahead. I don't stop you. Let me not say I'm cutting you. Go ahead, sir. Please go ahead.
Allow me. Yeah. So the idea behind it is get the route to, of course, get to Akwa Ibom. Akwa Ibom will still eventually be developed. I'm talking about the Akwa Ibom port as it is. Will still be developed. That is already in the pipeline. And I also believe, I think there's also one port. Douglas has been mentioning that he's been shipping his own goods to it. I think it's either Port Harcourt or Warri, I can't remember now.
Those are all. You can't get any large. Look at how ports work, sir. Let me explain to you.
Three ports. Three.
It doesn't work that way, sir. Let me explain how ports work to you, sir. If you go to UK, I'm an importer. I'm an importer exporter. If you go to UK or you go to America and you want to ship your car to Lagos, there is no ship that is going to take it just from Houston to Lagos. None. They will do Houston, Cameroon, Togo, Lagos, Senegal. They will do all those ports. Then move to Asia because you don't have enough goods to fill a ship. So they put you. Okay. When Lagos has the deep sea port, what they love it because what they do is that the big ship will come to Lagos
with everything.
Good. Offload at that deep sea port. Then the small port will then take it from the deep sea port to the other ports in Lagos, in Warri, in there. So if you don't have a deep port, you can't get those ocean vessels to come in. Only Onne is near that. The other ones you are calling are not.
Yes.
Nothing can happen there.
Yeah, so you are coming back to my point now. I think it's Onne actually that asked that one, and the largest ships they're already coming around that place.
Yeah, but my question, okay, you're not sure. You're taking us far. I let you talk, but answer my question. Why only Lagos Port? Modernization, Lagos Port. We're going to the UK to get for Lagos Port. Why is Lagos being overcrowded? The airport being done is in Lagos. Everything is in
Yes, that's
Lagos.
what I wanted to address in the first place. When I said that the reason behind that, Nigeria doesn't have this money for all of this infrastructure. Nigeria only has, I mean, the government can only accommodate private sector investment into it. The president is somebody big on PPP approach to all of this. He's been doing this all the way from when he was the governor. He's been saying it, so private sector will bring their money. But if the environment, and if you are bringing, let's say, £1 billion pounds or $1 billion in this case now from wherever, you will also look at the long-term viability, the way the people behave, the behavioral pattern of the people in that place. You don't want somebody that will wake up one day and say they are protesting and then the whole place will shut down. So beyond even the natural disaster happening, you are looking at you bringing your investment, and then your long-term investment will be safe. There will be no issue. That is where Lagos has found a way to maintain. Other regions, other places that has those capability to be able to host them should also make sure. I'll give you an example. One of the damages that has happened over time to let me say South region was those period when they were kidnapping. All of those things, for investors' confidence to grow, it will take another maybe decades for them to get investors the confidence to say, okay, I'm neutral, I don't know any tribe, I don't know anybody. This is where I want to put my money, which is not in Lagos, So it will take a lot of confidence building. And that also applies to other regions outside of maybe Southwest or Lagos. Why you want to ask yourself, why is Dangote, who is even within us, looking forward to building? Do you know that Dangote is going to build a port in Ogun State right away? He's gotten the approval to go ahead and do that. Why is he not taking his investment to go and say, okay, I'll go and acquire one port? Why is it not going that way?
Okay,
so all of those things.
Okay, Omo, I think excellent points you made. Very, very excellent points made. Let me ask you 3 questions. Where do you think was the largest single private sector investment in the history of Nigeria? Where do you think it was? Minus, just remove Dangote refinery for now. Apart from Dangote refinery, where do you think the largest single private investment ever in the history of Nigeria? Where do you think it was?
In the history of Nigeria, that's a big question. I've never thought of that. Maybe
so that there will be so anything you want to call anyone. I say from the history of Nigeria to the largest single, not like someone's building.
Can you give me an hint, please?
Tourism.
Oh, tourism. Okay, maybe Cross River, Tinapa.
Bam. Okay, you're completely right. Where do you think was the largest ever announced private sector investment ever in the history of Nigeria by a foreign entity to Nigeria? So this is not Tinapa was the largest single investment ever in Nigeria, largest single one, right? Now I'm asking you the largest FDI ever announced. Remove Dangote Petrol. Largest FDI ever announced in the history of Nigeria by a foreign entity.
Remember, to be honest, I can't remember.
I can give you a hint also.
Don't give me, please.
Railway.
Oh, okay. Oh, that should be, if you're looking at railway, maybe Lagos, Ibadan.
No.
Or maybe in the Eastern Corridor.
Well, should I give you the answer? If you don't, I'll give you the answer. I don't know.
No, I think I can. I don't know. Yeah, just go ahead, please.
It's Calabar. GE announced $1 billion investment in Calabar.
When was that?
Under Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Google it. $1 billion.
So what happened to it? Why did it stop?
It stopped because he lost the election. The GE was going to come, refurbish the entire rail lines, and build a GE train. The trains are from GE. They'll build the trains, they'll do whatever there and all that. It's the same way we got the largest single investment ever issued to China in the history of China. Guess what country issued it? Of course, it's Nigeria. Guess what project? Lagos to Calabar. So I've given you 3 projects that are outside Lagos that attracted GE. Back then, GE was a global firm. They came to Nigeria. I've also given you Tinapa. They came to Nigeria as well. So forget this issue of only Lagos is viable for investment. Lagos is viable because it's integrated. Your embassy, your airports, your rails, your roads, your population, are all in one place. So if I, Kalu Aja, had to invest, I would invest in Lagos first before I go to Abia.
Let me quickly say this, sorry, please. Do you know that is what Ogun State is also already doing? Ogun State has airports. Dangote is bringing.
Ogun State does not have airport. They have a small airport they just built. That's not what I'm talking about. Everybody has airport. Jigawa has airport. Listen, Lagos has got international airport. Yeah. Leave Ogun Airport for now. Lagos has an international airport. You can fly in from London, stay in the hotel, get a visa, take your train, your container, put on a train from Lagos to Ibadan, or go by road from Lagos to any part of the world. The internet in Lagos is faster because all the main one cable is in Lagos. Everything is concentrated. I'm not blaming Lagos. I'm saying you've got to open these same things across Nigeria so that you spread development. Go to the same Lagos. Is Ekpe as developed as Ikeja in Lagos? No, it's not. How did we open up Lagos? Then we built a road into Lekki to open up Lekki, and the Lekki Peninsula is one of the fastest growing real estate companies in the whole world. How did that happen? Because someone in his wisdom built that express road from Ozumban, by the way, all the way to Ted Roundabout. The same model Lagos is using, replicated across Nigeria. Open up Nigeria. The same way you've opened up Lekki is the same way you'd open up all parts of Nigeria or more. I'm not saying what you're saying. I'm giving you context. If we sit down and say only Lagos can attract investors because they are doing sit at home in Anambra, we've lost it. We've lost it. Don't go anywhere. Let's get goodwill in. Yeah, I mean, I love you. You are here. Let's get goodwill in, and we can come back to you if you don't mind, sir. Goodwill. Go ahead. Goodwill, you've got your hand up. Go for it.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Kalu Aja. Usually for me, I always like to look at it in a simplistic perspective as much as possible. So the way I kind of look at it, and correct me if I'm wrong. So if, for example, I have a car dealership in Lagos that I sell, it's about, let's say, 50 million naira. 50 million naira for the Mercedes. And then I have this so-called guy that I really want him to come and patronize me. So I invite him to my dealership, offer him a plate of rice, wine him, and tell him that, okay, that Mercedes, ordinarily that I usually sell 50 million naira, that I can help him finance, give me loan to buy it for 200 million naira.
Yeah. You're over the target. You're over the target.
So that means that if somebody else had come with cash and paid, the person would have gotten that Mercedes for 50 million.
Yeah, you're over the target.
Exactly. So now this target now, so-called person now, that is coming to not just get a loan to buy the car, is actually going to buy the car at 4 times the price, which is 200 million naira. And the person is celebrating that not only was he able to get a loan from me, but he also get a loan of 200 million naira. So
Goodwill. If you go to any let's say secondary school, go to any secondary school in Nigeria, and you ask a student in Nigeria, who makes steel in the world? You say China or the UK. If you put this question in the JAM score, it's free because all the students are going to say China. Or the Far East. Is there any tariff? Is Trump putting tariffs on UK steel? He's putting tariffs on Chinese, whatever steel, right? So the fact that UK is selling steel to Nigeria, you're over the target, sir. What price? Of course, the Chinese steel is cheaper. Of course, the Chinese steel is cheaper than the UK steel, which is why this deal had to be financed for it to be, quote unquote, viable. If not, why can't the guy that owns the port just go and buy the steel now? Somebody said he makes 1.2 billion a month in the port. Okay, if they're making that much money, why can't they just simply issue a contract to buy the steel from China? Please go ahead and talk. You're over the target, sir.
Yeah. So that's the question I'm asking. So that's one thing. One thing that was really despicable, and talking about and knowing that the person that you give the loan to would have to pay it back, because at the end of the day, this is 200 million naira of buying that car. It's not free money because you got to pay it back to me instead of paying back 50 million, which is actually the value of the service or the product that you're supposed to be giving to this guy. But here is the painful part. The painful part is this, is that you mentioned it, which is the FDI. The difference, people keep talking about, oh, he signed a deal, he signed a deal, he signed a deal. Is it a loan or is it an investment, an FDI? Because they are two completely different things. When you have FDI, the person is not only bringing his capital, financial capital, but he's also bringing his technology. And the most important part is this: he is in whether it is a loss or a profit. So he's not coming in to say, okay, you must have to, there's a fixed amount of obligation of like you said, debt servicing or payments that you have to make periodically, whether you're successful or not. It doesn't matter. Or like a loan, just like a loan, like a car payment or or a house payment, a home mortgage. It doesn't matter whether you end up losing your job tomorrow or losing your job in a year. You got to pay that money back. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But investment is something that you put in, and if you make £1 profit, you and the person that you made the investment with or the entity, you share a percentage of the profits. If you make a loss, you share a percentage of the loss.
Correct.
And so I'm going to round up. So here's the thing.
Don't round up. You're on the target. I want to go ahead.
So here's the thing. The thing is, I will argue that FDI is a true test of confidence the markets or the investment community have on an entity or a country. Not loan. Anybody can give a loan to anybody. It doesn't matter, because as long as your collateral is liquid enough, or they can liquidate it enough to be able to recover their loan, their capital, or their loan amount. But FDI is a true test of the sentiment, of the confidence that the investment community, or not even the investment community, but your actual policy is the asset test of the actual. Because if the actual policy, your economic policy in your country is strong and drives value and prosperity, outsiders will see that and they will jump in to invest because they want to reap the benefits of that profits or that growth or that progress that your policy will drive. But if your policies are destructive, there is no way in the world your FDI, people are going to be wanting to invest in a policy that they have calculated and estimated that is a destructive policy. So that's the point I'm trying to make. Thank you.
I got you. And I'm going to bring Omar if you're still interested in speaking. But look at the point again, we have to understand. Let's break down this deal to its very, very basics, right? This is simply a trade deal. Somebody is buying something. There is no investment here. Somebody wants to buy something and the person cannot afford it because it is too expensive. So the person runs to the bank and says, give me a loan. The bank says, we don't trust you to pay this loan back. So the person runs to the federal government and says, guarantee this loan for me. So all this big thing you're hearing is that somebody wants to import steel to Nigeria. That's basically what it is. There's no investment here. There's no investment in Nigerian steel. This money could have been, Nigeria could have passed a bill and says, okay, we're going to give this steel contract to the 3 Nigerian steel companies in Nigeria to manufacture steel in Nigeria. Kaduna has a steel plant. We could have given that contract to Nigerians to make the steel, supply it to the ports in Lagos. Or we could have told the UK guy, come and set up a company in Nigeria. Even if it's a trade company, right? Import that thing to Nigeria. At least we'll get some VAT from you. At least we'll get some other, you will hire 1 or 2 people. No, we went straight to import. We are funding the UK company to bring the steel in here. And we're not paying. It's not a loan to Nigeria yet. What it is that the importer guy is going to pay. If he cannot pay, it becomes a contingent liability. So Nigeria is not paying this money. The importer is going to pay, but where he cannot pay, that's the point. So of course there's a cost, and this cost is going to be borne by the importer. But remember, it's an expensive cost. UK doesn't make steel. So Omo, I mean, you're welcome to come back on this or to bring up another topic. I don't mind. But
I agree with you too that we should actually be considering a big investment in steel production in Nigeria as a long-term go. But in the immediate, maybe that's the reason the British people, and the way it is, I think the way most of them are, I don't know what you call this model, but most of them now, they are looking towards, they will provide the funding, but the funding doesn't go through Nigerian hands.
Yeah.
So the contractor that's coming to implement will be paid directly by the British, and maybe an independent consultant or somebody that will mark off on the milestone that has been met, all of those kind of things. So yes, the British will have done best to either come and invest in steel production in Nigeria. But the beggar doesn't have a choice sometimes, So unfortunately, we just have to make do with what we have, which is getting them to bring that and to upgrade the ports. That's the goal for now. Steel production.
I know of 4 steel companies in Nigeria. 4.
Will they be able to meet the demand
No,
in a short time?
Ask me where the 3 are located. African. No. I'm helping you here. Okay. AIG is in Lagos. Quantum Steel is in Lagos and Ogun State. Sunflag.
Where are they mining from?
What I'm saying is that we have 3 steel companies in the same Lagos. So if President Tinubu wanted to boost the GDP of Lagos, he could have gone to Lagos and given them this contract and said, I will finance this, make steel for the Lagos port. Win-win. These guys can't make this steel. What will they do? These guys will then go to the UK and tell the UK, we're a private company in Nigeria. We have gotten a contract to supply $1 billion of steel to Lagos port. Come and partner with us. That UK company, this is where we got this steel from, will now come to Lagos. They can make the steel in the UK, but they'll bring it to Lagos and maybe do the finishing, like how we do with cars. Win-win. Win-win. So Lagos has already 3. African Industrial Group is in Lagos, right? Quantum Steel.
I'm on their website right
now. Good. Quantum Steel is in Lagos and Ogun State. Sunflag Steel is in Lagos, Ikorodu, and Shagamu, Ogun State. So you already have. This is not. This is something. It's not. It's easy. You have the company in Lagos. You have Lagos Port. Give the contract to the Lagos Steel Company. The Lagos Steel Company would have gone to London, get this same company in London and brought them to Lagos. They will now say, okay, we're doing CKD of steel, if that's possible. And they'll make the same steel in the UK, bring it here in Nigeria, and everybody will be happy. You will clap FDI. But we haven't done that. And then tomorrow we'll say trade surplus. You see where I'm going to, Omar? This is a simple thing. So it tells us that the gentleman in question, the president, might not really be looking out for Lagos in particular, but for the individual that owns that port. You see where I'm going to with this?
Yeah. So anyway, I would still suggest we wait for the details.
I'm giving you details now. I'm giving you the details.
They might not be complete.
I'm quoting the UK government, not the Nigerian newspapers. I'm quoting the UK government. Let me go back. The UK government is the one I'm quoting, sir, not the Nigerian papers. The UK government. The deal guaranteed by UK Finance will be coordinated and arranged by Citibank, and is expected to generate 236 million in supplier contracts for British companies. Amongst the beneficiaries is British Steel, which will secure a £70 million contract, a move the UK government described as a major boost to the nation's steel-making sector. So they use Nigeria to develop British steel and British contractors, where we could have done the exact same thing with the 3 steel companies in Lagos State. Forget Kaduna, in Lagos State. That came and did FDI. So these guys came to Lagos, did FDI, we ignored them and ran to London because there's jollof rice in London. Omo, you have the floor.
Anyway, let me just conclude, please. So for me, I would still believe that this is still a good deal for the president. Why? Because we need all the finances, wherever they are, to come in. Yes, we need to also make sure that we don't tie ourselves into a bondage where we will not be able to wriggle out or run into a contract problem later. So, but first off, the president has not hidden his plans on getting the ports upgraded. If England is coming to say they will upgrade it, because let's not miss it, the idea is not steel production per se. The idea is to get our ports to first class, where it will just be upgraded. So that's a major idea. And if the British are coming to say they can do it, then let's just go. Is that? Hence, other projects are still going to be coming in. Yes, the financing will also be coming in. You can call it loan, call it anything, but it's still financing, and the money is not going to be passing through the hands of any major Nigerian somewhere, whereby the money will be diverted. No, these are people who we all know they have the integrity of pedigree of starting and finishing a project. So I want to believe that upgrading the two ports in Lagos is the way to go. We've not done. If you can remind me, have we ever done this upgrade on these ports in the last 30 years? I don't think so. So beyond maybe steel or any other thing, upgrading the ports is very, very key to improving markets and all of that for Nigeria generally, especially from Lagos perspective. That's that one. Then also, I believe also we don't also have some other details we'll be looking at. There might also be other diplomatic reasons why the president also went to the UK. I believe in the coming days, more information will be coming forward in that regard. And don't forget, the current king of England is somebody that likes Nigeria generally, especially Lagos. So some of them, it might just be okay because of their love for Lagos, just like the same way the president of France. Some of them might just be because of their love for Lagos, and they are okay with it. Okay, we want to do something while the president is there, and then we love Lagos. So for them, the Nigeria they know is Lagos. You can't really stop there. Thank you.
Thank you, Omar. I appreciate it. It's of course, you're leaving, but I appreciate you giving context again. That's fantastic. Again, let me just go back to the point. We have complained in Nigeria that Nigeria has no money. I always say Nigeria has a spending problem. People say, no, Nigeria has money. Nigeria has a revenue problem. So the job of any public administrator, someone that's got cash in Nigeria, is to make 1 + 1 = 11. 1 + 1 cannot be 2 in Nigeria. It has to be equals to 11. 1 + 1. What do I mean by this? If you have very, very limited resources, you want to make sure you stretch that resource as far as it can go. Look at what the UK guys are doing. This deal, I'm pretty sure, was not done by the UK government. It was done by the UK private sector, reaching out to the government to say, listen, we are going to close very soon. We have no work, we have no contracts, it still is expensive here. So now they are looking for a deal to sort of boost the revenues of British Steel. And somebody and they say, hey, you guys are modernizing your ports. We'll give you steel. And the Nigerian port guy says, well, your steel is expensive. I can get steel cheaper in China or Korea. And they say, well, what if we give it to you on credit? And the guy says, well, my personal credit is not going to be enough. Okay, what if you get your government to underwrite that credit? You see, the point I'm making is that the British people are working for themselves. And then the guy now says, even if I can get the president to come, the president will not agree. Why would he come and guarantee me? Well, we're going to talk to the king. The king was going to invite him on a state visit to the UK. It will be at the same level we gave Donald Trump. We'll have the carriage, we'll have the state dinner. Everybody will be invited. It will be published in the world. The UK has only done maybe 4 state visits. He'll be one of them. The last state visit was with General IBB, one who wanted crude oil from Nigeria. Now he's going to be the only guy, not Goodluck, not Yaradua, not even Obasanjo. He's going to be the only guy that's going to get a state visit. You see how they package this whole thing for Nigeria? Because they have to sell it to Nigeria. The UK made 1 + 1 = 11. They've got British Steel. They've got supplier credit. That company now will now be functional and can even get more and more and more deals. I don't blame the British. I'm saying, And this deal is not, in the end, if this port is modernized, it's Nigeria that will use it, Abi. So I don't blame making the port modernized. I'm just calling out the privatization of profit and the socialization of losses. This guy, according to the African Intelligence Report, ITB Nigeria is a company that was given the contract to rehabilitate Lagos Port. It's owned by Mr. Gilbert Cheguri, quoting the African Intelligence Report. Why has Mr. Gilbert not quoted this company in Nigeria in the stock exchange? If he wanted dollars, why has he not issued a dollar bond? Many Nigerians have dollars. Listen, Nigerians alone, I think I published a report last week, alone, just in funds, Nigerians' funds in dollar mutual funds is the second highest investment in Nigeria after money market funds in Nigeria. It's more than equities, more than bonds. That's dollar funds. This is not dumb account to just dollar funds. So there's dollars in Nigeria. It's not in CBN, it's in the private sector. Why has Mr. Chakuri not issued a $1 billion bond or equity to get money from Nigerians to buy this deal? Because he wants to privatize the profit and socialize the losses. Why? So he has the coastal road, he has the port, he has all these things, but is any of his companies quoted? Is he doing anything to bring in more Nigerians into this fray? I don't know. And this is my point. This is why this thing I don't like it, because it's like we are being looked at as mugus. We are helping someone move. And Nigeria is not only getting the best. We can go to the steel for cheaper than this one. So, I mean, that's just my call. We spent about an hour here, which is fantastic. That's what will be a long space. Gordon, do you have anything to add before we sort of start to wind down?
No, you just actually exposed a critical component of this sham of a deal. You just, when you're involved in a transaction, let's say Nigerians are a party to this transaction, Nigerian citizens are party to this transaction, supposedly. So if you're a party to this transaction, Nigerians are supposed to benefit from the profits or from the cash flow or from the benefits, but also take a percentage of the loss. Yeah. So now, but here is how the true picture of this thing is. We are going to share in the loss, but we're not going to benefit from the profits or from the growth or from the value or from the potential. Because at the end of the day, you tell me the port they are going to build. If I ship my products, say from the US to Nigeria, am I not going to pay freighting and clearing charges? So that means that these guys, I'm still going to, despite that I've invested, despite that my tax has been used to collateralize this project, because obviously, like you say it's backed by this is backed by the sovereign. So that means that my taxes were used as collateral for these projects. So if my taxes are used, if part of my wealth was used as to collateralize this project, then it's only right that I reap the benefit of these projects. So the government has to explain to us citizens, how are we going to reap from the benefits of this project? Or is it going to benefit only a select few people and not the collective of our citizenry? Because at the end of the day, are you going to guarantee that our imports, you're going to waive the fees, the clearing costs for our products that we import? Or are you going to declare dividends that will be distributed to all Nigerians at the end of the year? What are the benefits?
And again, it's not even, if you look at it, like, it's so blatantly, what's the word to use for the British government? It's so blatantly, like, I don't know the word to use, but if you
this is an assault on our sensibilities.
Pull up the UK government had a deal with India and maybe Pakistan. Pull up and look at what they agreed with them in terms of trade. There's a free trade agreement between UK and India and all that. What they get from India, what they're going to get from UK. Even the UK guys are concerned about that free trade agreement. What did Nigeria get from this? I mean, I can't believe that the president went all the way to the UK to sign a trade deal, not a trade deal, it's an export deal. He signed this, Then he signed migration. So all of you guys listen to me, you have friends in the UK, they're going to deport your ass if you stay there more than you're supposed to be, because they don't have to wait anymore. Once they say you're about to go, if you like, tell your passport, like don't tell your passport, you are leaving because they've signed off now. I'm hearing that if they want to bring in foreigners, the presidency has said no, it's only Nigerians, not foreigners. But this was the same thing we're trying to do with Rwanda and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, business visas for the UK guys to come here, is it going to be reciprocal? So what did we get from all this? The main thing we got was the spectacle of an African guy in Windsor going toe to toe with the king and queen. So they understand that visuals move us. If you just put a few visuals, take us to the queen, give us one title, it moves us. I don't. Again, I don't want to be too critical of them, but do you think Rwanda or would go and they just say go and sign, or Ethiopia will go all the way to go and eat rice at the Buckingham Palace or whatever palace just to sign import of steel? If you remove that import of steel, what else did we sign? Migration, visa. We're mentioning technicity. That's nothing. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on, man. But
I think this is a situation even here, even in the US you see, if counties they issue bills. They say if they issue let's say bonds, okay, to build roads where they're going to toll. You find out that the benefits from the cash flow from those toll, they are distributed, they are transparently displayed on county websites. It's okay. So far, they've told X amount of millions, and this X amount of millions is going to be used to build, to refurbish some secondary schools or some elementary schools or some roads, local roads or whatever. You see, it is clearly stated, and I've seen multiple instances where this was implemented across several counties in the United States.
It's a missed opportunity. I mean, right now we have Dangote Petrochemicals. The world is looking for fertilizer. We have Dangote Energy. The world looking for energy. Did we talk? Was there any energy agreement signed here with the UK? Nothing. We have agriculture. We have security. We have trade. We have IT. I see a lot of guys here. I see Lemfi and the rest. They were all part of this agreement of what was announced. But they're all going to set up companies in the UK, right? And all that. What really did we get from this? We need a lot from the UK. What did we really get from this trip that we have a picture of the president with the king and the queen? Nothing. We didn't get really nothing. If you strip away that, Alien, go ahead, Alien. Don't talk too much. Thank you. How you doing? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Like you have said, I agree 100%. I don't understand how till date we negotiated everything, because you look at all the deals and it seems like everything favored UK. In fact, I was discussing with one of the supporters of this current government, and they were citing Zenith Bank now can.
Oh my God! I didn't even mention that. I didn't even mention that. We've had Nigerian banks in the UK. Oh my God!
Exactly. So, I feel like the most painful one for me, apart from this deal and maybe the port and something, was this import. It was this immigration stuff where they can, instead of previously what used to happen is that for people who are overstayed, they have stayed in UK or have flouted some of these rules in UK, migration rules in UK. What they normally do is that they have a document that they need to process, and this document normally takes time before, but now with this new thing they have signed, the UK can just, process it faster and just send people back. Illegal migrants, people who have overstayed their this in the UK and so on and so forth. And for me, what I was thinking is that, okay, good. If you say, okay, you are going to give them this, and also negotiate for something that will benefit you guys over here. You are now saying, okay, we are giving you this. What of you guys covering some of the resettlement cost of those people who would be coming? I had around 1,000 to 10,000. I'm not very sure of the number of those who they will be deporting back to Nigeria. You did not negotiate that. You could not even negotiate maybe like something on legal migrants having more access, maybe skilled laborers from Nigeria to UK. Try and see what you can do with it. Nothing at all. Everything just seemed lopsided. Seemed to just benefit the UK people and every single day. And the question is, who were the people who negotiated this deal? How long was this deal negotiated?
If you ask me, if you ask me, I'm sorry to cut you short. If you ask me, I think they were more interested in the visuals to use it for politics than the economy. Because I mean, look at it this way. There are many low-hanging fruits. As of today, EU still doesn't accept Nigerian agricultural exports. I heard 6 out of every 10 containers are rejected because of from export of food when we go to the EU and all that. These are things you could have talked with them about and said, okay, can we do this? Can we have our own special, maybe tax-free or duty-free exports to the UK, or can we do a fintech fund? There are many low-hanging fruits with the government of the UK that you can chase down and pursue. Many that you can do. We it's like we rush this thing. Maybe somebody was doing this and we say, let's use this. This picture will be used during elections. They're going to see during elections they will put up, the king has endorsed Tinubu. You'll see it. And we've lost the real thing that we could have gotten. Sit down and plan. Because when you don't go for conferences and agree deals. They are agreed before. Then these sort of things are just when you go and sign and you do the visuals, the photo ops. I think just rush it for the visuals. That's why we're ask anyone ask you about the deal. Tell them, give me 3 FDIs that came from this deal. They can't tell you. They can't tell you. And it's sad. I mean, sad.
Exactly.
Sad.
I agree with you that they just did this for the visuals, because I was reading that July 2025, the US also proposed something like this where they were saying they would deport people and everything. And I think they even opened it up. They said Nigerian internationals, and they were ready to negotiate with us also. But this government disagreed with it. July 2025, I had to go check and make sure I fact check myself again on this same thing. So the question I kept on asking all of these government people is that, why did you not take the US for you took? Is it because of the visuals? Maybe the US did not give you this type of visual, this maybe state visit with Trump coming to. Maybe that was why they did not pick this thing.
The UK has thoroughly, and I'm thoroughly infiltrated Nigeria. And I'm not quoting outside. Go to the WikiLeaks. If you get your hands on the WikiLeaks, there's a conversation where then the US ambassador, I think her name was Sanders, the US ambassador was going around and speaking to people, and then she was now talking to not even Shell, the Shell person in Nigeria. And the Shell person was telling the US ambassador, listen, if you want anything from Nigerian government, just come and ask us. She said, I'm quoting, that they have agents in every ministry and government agency in Nigeria. The politicians, the ministry, they have people there. It's in WikiLeaks, a cable. So she was telling them that, listen, if we want information, Shell can give it to us. These guys understand Nigeria in total, that's the UK. And they know that if you do this kind of thing, they will sign. If you bring up if you write an agreement, this sort of deal is what Ministry of Commerce will just do. And we'll move on. We'll hear about it 1-2 days and we'll move on. You're importing steel. That's all this deal is. So we're importing steel. But the deal was so bad, they had to get the president to come and sign it. Because without the president, look at it this way. Let me tell you what I'm saying. If you brought this same deal and you went to a Nigerian government and said, want to import steel from Nigeria, CBN will tell you no. Why are you importing steel from UK? It's expensive. We don't have forex. Why are we giving you forex to import steel? Now that Tinubu has come and taken picture with the president, okay, don't issue that dollar. Let me see. Don't sign that paper. Let me see. You remember when Davido's father was talking about how he wanted to build a power plant in Nigeria, and that one guy, sat on the power plant deal. Remember Davido's father, and that the guy went when the guy fell sick. That's when he issued the paper. Isn't it? Go and Google it. If South Korea, that he wanted to build that power plant from, had invited this guy to South Korea, gave him all the tracking, they would have passed that same thing. So South Koreans are not as smart as the UK guys. I'm being sarcastic on purpose. That's they want to understand Nigeria. That tells you that all these deals were going around the world to sign. If you call this guy today and you say, sign that Dangote must give us 50% and we'll give you State House, White House visit, he'll sign. Let's get Errol. Errol, go ahead, Errol.
It's Earl T-shirt.
Errol T-shirt. What's up, man?
So I'm doing all right, Kalu. Very big fan of your space. I've maybe spoken once or twice on there. I think we should be looking at more angles to address the situation regarding this investment, or rather so-called investment that we are looking at.
Investment.
Very much. Sorry, I was disappointed but not surprised.
That's the word.
In the sense that, we are not going to expect anything more than optics from the Tinubu administration. They thrive on propaganda, and I don't want to even sound political because you're a finance-inclined space. But regarding it's a psychological thing with most Africans. We deal with optics. Even Black Americans as well do it, where they bring about their entertainers. They don't even bring about any scholars or people at the forefront of, should I say, big fields or relevant fields to actually sit down and talk things out regarding probably the advancement of maybe their caucus. Because Nigeria is a caucus. The whole immigrant community of Nigerians are one of the best in UK. So I think basically it was a letdown, to say the least, but at the same time, we shouldn't have expected anything less than that, because the Tinubu administration is just going off of optics, propaganda, and vibes. There's nothing I can even say that is even more than what you guys have said. This could have been a serious injector for the Ajakuta steel mill.
That one is dead. That one is dead. Yeah. Ajakuta is gone.
No, it's gone. But if there was anything that regarding steel that would have maybe revived our hopes regarding this administration, it would have been that.
No, but you have three. You have three already in Lagos. There, I quoted the three. You have 3 functional steel mills in Lagos, and we have 3. I'll say it again. You have 3. You have the African Industrial Group (AIG) steel mill in Lagos. You have the Quantum Steel in Ogun, Lagos and Ogun. That's Shagamu place. You have Sunflag in Ikorodu and Shagamu. Again, these guys might not be able to supply the steel immediately, but if you had given the contract to them, they would have gone to the same British Steel and made British Steel enter into a partnership with them. We see it all the time. Innocent is partnering with Chinese people. Everyone partners. So if they had partnered, now these 3 companies would have now imported the technology and the partnership from British Steel. They will have a joint partnership. So even if we are importing, you are also importing tech. Now, we've just gone to British Steel and said, okay, give us your steel. No value add, nothing. So
I think
it's nothing.
I think it's more or less we are, what do you call it? We are at a beggarly stance because
I don't think it's beggar. We're not using our assets.
The West is not going to allow their tech to go outside their country.
When the tech is failing, no, the company is failing. The company would have gone out of business without this deal. Volvo has been bought, but I'm not arguing with you, Sam. I'm sorry if I'm interrupting you.
It's all right.
But Volvo has been sold to the Chinese. Many UK companies, who owns Land Rover? Who owns Range Rover today? Indians. So all that tech went to India, right? So it's bad they sell the company and allow the company to fail and lose jobs. That's the point. UK is a shell of itself. Shell of itself. So they need these deals. They need it more than we need it. We can get steel from China. They cannot get British steel to work without a deal like this. We had the advantage. We threw the advantage away to eat jollof fries with the king and queen of England. That's the point.
You're very, very correct, honestly. But as regarding tech, yeah, it could have been an import deal. It could have been the tech could have been an import deal as well. But we all know that the cabinet within this government is not. They do not have longevity in their view. So what I feel is that one, regarding tech, obviously, you talked about Lemfi, you talked about monies. These are actually shaping up to be high street banks in the UK. This should have merged our financial markets. You understand? Should have merged a whole lot of finances and allowed us to trade within ourselves. And coming back, yes, there was even a point I was trying to make, Kalu, before you actually asked me to speak. So, as regarding exports, regarding food stuff, in the UK, they have Sainsbury's, they have Aldi. I don't know about Scotland because I'm resident in Scotland, but in England, they are selling Nigerian ingredients and products. You understand? One, a lack of community here has this thing, is nowhere to be found, because obviously with the amount of Nigerians you have in the UK, it's an easy thing to set up like a franchise. Asda is an Indian franchise. We don't have anything of the sort here. So it would have been giving up a pole position to trade and export most of our foodstuff to the immigrants in the UK. We don't have that. So I think it's not just we are talking about the government now, but as a caucus, we don't represent ourselves, we don't have longevity in our thoughts, and also we are not even homogeneous we are not trying to secure ourselves as a monolith with one voice across.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think that the politics that's happening in Nigeria, like when we are doing this tribe versus that tribe, do you think it's affecting us in deals like this? Do you think if there was no intertribal fight, most of the supporters of the president would have said this is not a good deal? Because if I go on Twitter, I see people are supporting this.
I highly disagree, Kalu, because from my observation here as well, I've realized that even within amongst ourselves, there are some things that obviously we should have unlearned by staying here. There are people that have stayed here 18 years, 20 years, 35 years. I'll give you an example. It's a bit personal. I moved to my current city now, and I was looking for a house. I checked with landlords. Most of them use agencies, so most of the time you can't go to a landlord directly. You have to use an agency. Now, one of the few landlords that we got was the Nigerian, and I'm going to tell you, he's a Nigerian pastor from Redeemed Christian Church of God. Now, we all know that Redeemed Christian Church of God is an arm of the APC. I'm not saying...
Wow.
Yes. I'm not saying that this man is a villain, but I'm going to put 2 plus 2 and we'll all do the math. This man asked us for a deposit for a house, or asked me for a deposit for a house that if I walked into the facility, it smelled like dead people were in there. Not just that, I'm paying for a 2-bed, I'm paying for 2 rooms in a 3-bed flat that I'll be sharing, but I'm paying currently now where I'm staying at. I just realized I'm paying the same amount for his asking price plus a deposit. And he wasn't being official. He didn't take
I don't take us too far away from the topic.
But long and short of the story is that as a community, we are not a community. We are not a strong community within the UK. You can see it evidently, even with this gap-toothed lady that is always in conservative speaking about this thing. But we are not a community.
Okay.
And it shows evidently the government is a representation of the people, and we are not representing ourselves well. Thank you and God bless.
Okay, just to clarify, I'm not sure about that statement. The Redeemed Church is an arm of APC. I don't think it's true.
No, I don't want to say, but when they say if you walks like a dog,
I hear you. I'm just saying
it's obviously a dog.
I'm just saying, but you have no proof. You can't give me anything to prove that, right?
I mean, I can't really prove it, but let's not kid ourselves here. There's a lot of scandals that have gone on with this.
Just make sure I clarify that for you, because many folks might not know that Redeemed and all that. All right. Let's get Fola. I got Fola. I got Gretics. Fola, hi.
Hi, Kalu. Thanks for all that you do.
Thanks, Fola.
Great perspective listening to you. Just just hearing the other side of this, and I've learned so much. I'll try and articulate my thoughts and my questions. When I look at the amounts involved, we're talking £746 million. In the grand scheme of things, and the little I follow about Nigeria, I mean, this is not big money. This is not.
It's plenty money. It's plenty money.
Perhaps,
it's plenty money.
Okay, perhaps, and you'll help me understand. But maybe it is. So my question first is, I really get your point about the fact that this could have been better done. This could have been much more intelligently executed. There was a lot more in terms of priorities and advantages that could have come out of this. I really get that, and I'm glad you've opened my eyes to that. But my question to you is, even the way this has gone, what's the downside? I mean, what is the downside? Because if I understand you, maybe the government has gone to kind of say, if this guy doesn't pay, then we're underwriting this. And I presume they wouldn't do that if this guy didn't have assets that they can seize. That's just my general take. So my question is, what's the downside? Now, you made the second point about politics and optics. And, yes, perhaps, in fact, my read of this, ignore politics at your own peril. In church, at work, in the home, there's politics everywhere. So even if, and my take and my read of this is, perhaps, if this was not really a big, in terms big amounts involved, and the politics came along with it, it's all part of, it's all part of the reality of what's going on. Politics is a key part of things. It moves things. Of course, he's probably looking for a second term. Do we blame him for that? No. Now, if you are saying development was sacrificed for politics, I'll look forward to you to understand that. And finally, I want to just add, I think I lost the third point that was on my mind. But if you could just respond to those two things that I brought up. Thanks so much for all that you do.
Yeah. So what's the downside? What's the second question?
The other one was not really a question. It was really just because you kind of suggested, they'll be using these pictures for optics in their. Why not? I mean, it is what it is. Trump, people do it all the time. Politicians all over the world, they do it.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, I hear you. So, I mean, if you look at what's the downside, right? Look at it this way. If I could buy 10 buses from China for a BRT bus, right? And I buy 5 buses from UK, what's the downside? The downside is I only have 5 buses. Then I get folks lining up on the road to wait for the buses. This still is going to be expensive. How do you know it's going to be expensive? Number one is from the UK. They have high labor costs. Number two, they have to get a sovereign guarantee to finance the deal. On its own, Citibank can't push this as a commercial venture on its own. That's why they're arranging all this. Tinubu has to come. There has to be a guarantee, because on its own, it fails. How many contracts have had a sovereign guarantee in Nigeria? So what we're going to see is that the opportunity cost is that this project have been done faster and cheaper. And we also look at the jobs in Nigeria. I've just shared with you again the 3 steel plants, not in Nigeria, in Lagos specifically. No, I didn't go to Kaduna There's one in Niger State. I left those ones. I'm going in Lagos alone. You have 3 functional steel plants. If we had structured this, we could have still done the politics. We could have still done the picture with the king, and we would have still gotten local guys involved. This was an easy way to do it. And import the steel from the UK, go and take the picture. It was too easy. We didn't want to put the work to get it done. So the bad part is that we've lost a lot of opportunity cost in the local Lagos steel firms, in the speed that this could have been done, and even in the cost that might come onto the public purse. That's what's bad in this, right? Number 2, it's just like this, right? If we had not used corruption to inflate the cost of the pipeline from the Delta to Kaduna and Kano, that what the Chinese were supposed to have built, they would have built it by today. They left because the costs were inflated. And now NNPC is struggling to build that same pipeline. Today, we don't have power across Nigeria because we're looking for gas and all that kind of stuff. These things have a cost. In economics, it shows up. It shows up. You're supposed to spend 10 naira and you spend 100 naira. That 90 naira is coming from somewhere else. So that's to answer that first question of what's the downside. Number 2, I don't. So again, to be cynical, I don't mind him. Like you said, if Tinubu wants to go take a picture with the king and use for politics, he is well within his right. It's a smart thing to do, to go and do that. So I don't really fault the politics of it, but I'm saying they could have done all. They could have got the picture, and they could have done the steel firms rolling. They could have done 2. They ran for the easy one. They ran for the easy way. Look at the deal. I'm looking at my screen. I've searched, I've Googled, I've grokked. You cannot find any major thing that came to Nigeria from this deal. The immigration is bad for Nigeria. The steel plant is not optimal for Nigeria. The Coventry School is just import of education to come to Nigeria. There are many good things here. The Tate Overton one is good, but it's too small. Like you say, you say 746 million is small. The Tate is 20 million pounds. Is that one big? But they're celebrating the Overton investment. But 746 is big. But 20 million or so pounds, is that one big? So why are we celebrating it? I like the comments, Errol, but again, we have to. In summary, we could have done better. That's just it. We could have done better. Folks, I see no one else trying to speak, and I think I can look at my notifications and see if there's any question there for anyone that wants to. Yeah, but I have to read them and I have to stop talking to read them. So I think we've achieved our aim today. I like to talk factually and to give you the facts behind the figures. I wish someone would have come here today and said, "Oh, Kalu, what you're saying is wrong. This what could have happened. We would have gotten this." I wish someone had come here and they would have learned together, but no one has said that because there's nothing to say. The deal is right here. And I, on purpose, didn't go with Nigerian press. The Nigerian press has sort of been very, very gushing over this deal. No one has actually done what I've done today to say these are the real issues. The main issue, again, I want to just do a bit of a excursion. If you are getting all these deals from the Nigerian government, the Nigerian government should force you to incorporate in Nigeria as a quoted entity. When MTN was a private company, we harassed them. MTN must quote. MTN must quote. We harassed them. MTN. DSS went to their office. We fined them 15 billion or so because they sent remittances to UK. We harassed that company. They've stayed, persevered in Nigeria. We have a company now in Nigeria. It's getting no bid contract. It's doing the ports. It's doing the coastal road. It has a sandfield area in Lagos. One company is the same company is doing the construction. Has that company been quoted? Why are we harassing the South Africans and not this guy? Dangote is going to do public offer. If Dangote didn't do a public offer, they would have harassed him too. You've gotten money from government. You're a monopolist. Quote the company. Let's enjoy. But nobody is talking about this guy. Why should this guy get all these contracts and not quote the company? He should share in the largest that's gone from the government. No bid contracts. He should share that. We should hold him to task too. This money can go from Nigeria. But no, he ran there to get a loan because he can pay the loan back and keep the company 100%. That's just my take. And if you disagree, hey, but that's what I'm seeing. Like someone said, if it quacks, it's a duck. Fantastic, guys. Thanks for hanging out here. Tomorrow, we're going to be back to talk about the Nigerian economy and bringing a real economist. I'm not a real economist, a real economist, talk around the risks that Nigeria is going through with this war in Iran, right? What are the opportunities? What are the risks on an economic level? No, I'm bringing a very, very sound guy. So if just join in, it's going to be a topic where you want to just get your note and just hear what's going on so you can know where to hedge, right? You know where to sort of position yourself in the country. You know, I have a friend in Israel and he sent me a video. I'm going to share it on Twitter, a video of an Iranian missile in Dimona. Dimona is where the Israelis have their nuclear reactor. So the Iranian guys launched a missile at the nuclear power plant in Israel. This is not like news. This is my friend sent me the video on his phone. So what would have happened if that missile had hit the nuclear reactor in Israel? What would have happened? Think about that. What would have happened? Will Israel have responded with nuclear weapons? So, you know, I don't think we're pricing in this Iran war critically. While everybody's looking at fuel, but the real issue is fertilizer. Because Africans depend on imported fertilizer, not even imported fuel. I mean, like Africans use cars or mass transit, like in the rural areas. But fertilizer, we do a lot of it. So this is like the COVID all over again, where we're not going to get fertilizer, we're going to get food costs going up. Because if you don't use fertilizer at the farming season, you can't use it in the rainy season. It's like you have to use it at a certain time. And unfortunately, if we don't get that fertilizer into the ground, it might affect food yield. So even if this war stops today, what's going to be the effect next year when we have lower yields and all that kind of stuff? So it's a big problem. You know, this thing really needs to. I think it's getting a bit too far. Like I said, you know, if that missile hit the nuclear reactor, what would have happened? Israel is not America; they won't hold back. So it's just interesting to note that, and that's why I want to get a guy that's an expert to talk to us about the risks and the rewards of what's happening to the Nigerian economy. Of course, that would then mean to your own pocket, so you can sort of take corrective action. But I'll just say this, right? This is a time to be very, very circumspect in how you invest. You know, on Twitter they always argue, hold your dollars, don't hold the dollars. I get dragged because I tell people to hold the dollars. Let me just say it outright for you now. Ignore the exchange rate. You want to have a currency that holds value in the time of uncertainty. When there's uncertainty, you want to be in a currency that is convertible and that is stable. That's where you want to be. Forget exchange rate. It went up 10 naira today, went up 10. That is immaterial. If the naira is 1-to-1 and you can't exchange it, what is the point? Be very careful about chasing exchange rates and not worry about what you are holding. Number two, just pause yourself. If you have to go and buy, you know, if you have the means, bulk up and wait, because this thing might get ugly very, very soon. Like, you know, again, like I said, if this had happened and the whole thing just goes south, where would we be today? There's no ship moving and all that kind of stuff. Just this thing. I don't think this thing lasts more than a month. I've said it before. The intensity is too much for it to last more than a month. But just get yourself prepared so you're not caught out. Maybe you are holding this currency or you're holding that investment and you get caught out. On the investment side, if you have the means, this is a buying opportunity. It's a buy. You know, people say, oh, not all dips are buy, but this is a buy because the market has fallen, not because there's anything wrong with the companies, but because there's a war. So people have to move out. I bought the Dubai ETF. It's called UAE. It invests in Dubai properties, invest in Dubai. I bought it. Why? I bought it because it's crashed. So I bought it. Because why? Because when the war ends, They're going to spend more money in Dubai. They're going to invest in Dubai to build it up. They're going to build more domes. So I'm buying Dubai now at the bottom. That's how you want to think. Don't say, oh, it's risky. Yes, it is a risk, is the return. But what should you buy? You want to buy only blue chip. Only blue chip. There's no point going to get discount on a discounted stock. You want to buy only blue chip, right? So that way, when the market corrects after the war, you are on something that's going to go up just because of its size and its weight. So you don't want to take a risk to invest, but you want to take a risk to invest in blue chip, in the right currencies, in something that is not risky. So you are buying a good asset today that the price has gone down. That's what you are trying to buy. A good asset that the price has gone down. Hear what I'm saying? The value is still there, but the price has gone down. You don't want to buy a stock or a currency that the price has gone down. No, you want to buy a stock or a currency that the value is up there, but the price has come down. Not one that the price has come down. Big difference. All right, folks, thanks for listening. I hope I'll see you guys tomorrow, 7 p.m. West African time. On that note, I'll let you guys go enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. Thank you so much. Really applaud me. I appreciate you guys. Take care.